Broadcasting from the beautiful state of Maine, welcome to another episode of the Learning from Leaders podcast, the show that focuses on identifying and developing the skills and behaviors that will inspire, empower, and compel others to follow your lead. Listen as Patrick's guests talk about the powerful leadership approaches they have identified and developed, which are vital for leading in today's challenging times. These are the same approaches that will positively impact you as a leader too. Learning from Leaders provides the right balance of leadership research with real-world scenarios, making it easy for you to rise above your best. All right, let's start the show.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Patrick Veroneau, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Learning from Leaders. If you have been exploring different ways to incorporate meditation into your daily lifestyle, then this is the episode for you. My guest today is Dr. Krishna Bhatta. He's the Chief of Urology at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center. And he's also the chairman and founder of Relax, that's with 2 X's, LLC, which is an app on meditation and specifically one of the models that he's created, which is called Intermittent silence. And I've been using it for over 2 months now and absolutely love it. The conversation with Dr. Bhatta was really one that I enjoyed. And again, I think in this environment, if you're looking for different ways to improve your own well-being, then this is a great episode for you. So let's get into it. Dr. Bhatta, thank you again for being on the podcast. For those that are joining in, you know that in the intro to this, I said Dr. Bhatta is the chief of urology at Eastern Maine Medical Center, but also created a meditation app. He's in the meditation space this year. And there really is some uniqueness to what he is promoting, the model that he's developed. And I was hoping that we could talk about that today, Dr. Bhatta.
That's great. No, thanks for having me. I mean, it's great to be with you. I mean, you have been in the leadership space, at least in Maine that we know of, and great to connect with you.
Yeah, and I think this is such an important component. We had an opportunity to talk prior to this a day ago, and in regards to the leadership development that I'm involved in, I think very much about this idea that it needs to start from the inside out, which is very much in line with what your app is trying to provide individuals. So I was hoping you could really go through this idea in regards to your app, which is Relax with 2 X's. I love that. But this idea of intermittent silence. And how do we do that?
So let's start with, the app. We can talk about the components of the app, and then we can talk briefly about intermittent silence. So there are 3 components, major components, or 3 elements that we are born with. Normally, people, when they talk about any spiritual progress, they talk about mind and body, and enhance the mind, enhance the body. And we have really come up quite a bit as far as body and mind. We exercise, we do comfortable house and comfortable living. So we have done a lot with our body. We have done a lot with our mind. We go to our universities, colleges, and we have high standards, and we become great doctors, great scientists, great leaders. But there is another element in our life that we come with, which we ignore, and that's where I think the problems happen, that even though you're super successful in body and mind, you still are prone to depression and burnout and those things, because there is another element which I call the flame, which represents your individual personal consciousness. So there is a piece of consciousness in you that stays with you even after your body dies. That flame is an important factor that continues to represent you in some form or the other. So that is the basic concept, and then the practices of intermittent silence and meditation comes there.
And what is the impact of intermittent silence as it relates to the flame?
The flame is the one which is the core strength, and you want to know your consciousness. You want to experience that, and the silence, by resting your brain and by being, what is happening in the surrounding, your journey to the inside starts with that. And it's only 10 minutes a day practice that can really, by slowly practicing same time, same place for certain, weeks or months, you will start experiencing new doors will start opening. But more than that, you can also use that after that to, as you said, the inside out. I mean, you can create a theater, an atmosphere inside that silence where you can experiment on things that you want to work on. Like if you want to work on congruence, one of your cables thing, you can work from inside, not just imposing it on your mind, which is good to have that. You can create a conditioning by training yourself, but if it grows from inside you, then it becomes yours forever.
So as the practice of intermittent silence to do this is really a very short amount of time too, about 10 minutes?
Yeah, just 10 minutes a day.
Could you walk me through what is that process? Or for those listening, I did it myself, so I'll give you my feedback after I'm done.
No, I'll definitely like to hear that from you. But it's 4 components of intermittent silence. And the first one is close your mouth. So when you close your mouth, you are without words. You stop communication. The whole department of communication and expression and words processing that happens inside your brain, all those neurons and associated fibers, they get rested. That's at least the least benefit of that. Then you close your eyes. So when you close your eyes, everything associated with visual pathway, optic neurons, and everything that is associated with observation gets rested inside your brain. And then there is a silent listening. So silent listening is listening to any sound and all sound around you, but not trying to analyze that or process that, just silent listening. And the fourth one is watching your thoughts silently. Let the thoughts just pass by. Let it just transit. So that way, these are the 4 basic steps of this thing. And all the brain cells and neurons in your brain will thank you. We say that, 86 billion neurons for that 10 minutes of rest. But as we were talking, that in the beginning, it may be uncomfortable. We are not used to an inner journey. We are not used to being silent. So you want that 10 minutes to go away in 3 minutes, and that happens. I mean, that's expected. But once you cross that barrier of, the limit that, okay, it's uncomfortable, it's like I'm restless. But once you cross that, it really creates a space inside which you can do wonderful things. Because look at this. I mean, you are observing outside and you are expressing outside. Instead of doing that, you can create your own, what I say, bubble or theater inside you. And the expression, if it goes inside, internalize it. You can have a situation where you can only have positive thinking. I mean, you can create some obstacles if you want to, but you can create a positive imaging as well. Let me, Patrick, tell you a story about a patient who I was going to do a surgery, prostate surgery, cancer surgery. So he told me that he wants me to read a book that before I do his surgery. So he gives me the book and I read the book. And the book was Vincent Peale, Positive Imaging. And it's a nice book. It's a very nice book, actually. But I thought, okay, I read the book, so what is it? I mean, why does he want me to read the book? But this guy had been practicing for a week before surgery. Every night he will lie down and imagine that he's on the surgical table and I'm operating and everything is going well. This is the power of positive imaging. So in this period of silence, once you have practiced and you have done your 10 minutes, you can create that theater, whether it's a leadership course you are going to give or you are going to give an interview. You can do the whole thing in the internal, your personal space, and then act it out. I mean, so 80% or 90% of that will be same as what's going to happen. I mean, I used to do surgeries. If I'm going to do a big surgery, I will act it out. And then when I go, I'm well controlled. I mean, yes, sometimes things will go this way or that way, but at least 90% of that has been rehearsed.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about that too, because whether I'm working with athletes or leaders in organizations, the successful ones really, I think, take that to heart, especially athletes, about visualization and expectation. I think you need that first, right? If you really want to elevate yourself, I think that ability to go inside and develop this sense of expectation is really important. One of the unique things about your method, though, is breathing through your nose the whole time, keeping your mouth closed. And as a morning routine, I will generally try and work on breath for a short period of time. But it's always been, for me, that I've been told you breathe through the nose and out through the mouth. Why is your approach to close your mouth the whole time?
Well, I mean, it's more to do with communication expression so that you can internalize it and master there and rest your thing. But what you are saying is that what is the difference between meditation and intermittent silence, basically? So I have, the one way to express it is when you say meditation, it's a huge area. I mean, there is guided meditation, there is breathing meditation, there is mantra meditation. So it's like going to Himalayas. So when you go to Himalayas, it's a vast, 1,500 miles of, spread. But when you go to Himalayas, you need winter gear. You need boots, you need hiking boots, you need warm clothing, you need, to acclimatize yourself, or need oxygen if you want to go higher. So all that thing is packaged in intermittent silence. Any meditation you want to do, you have to deal with your thoughts. You have to deal with sound that you have got listening. You have to deal with your observation power. You have to deal with observation. It also includes mindfulness, by the way. So you need this package for any meditation you want to go do. So if you want to do jogging meditation, you won't close your eyes, because if you close your eyes, you may not know where you're going.
You're in the Himalayas.
So if you're doing breathing meditation, yes, that part, you can modify. But once you have the hang of this silence, because all the guided meditation, they take your mind and they guide you. There's nothing wrong with that. But you need that silent period, because that's where you really experience the depth. It's like going to the source. But once you get to the source, then find the force. And that part is not mentioned by many people. Most people will take you to that silent place and they say, come back. What I'm saying is that once you go to that silent place, there is a lot of energy there that you can use, which can be useful in your practice in daily life.
So I'm going to give you my experience from that, because I think I experienced that when I did that this morning for the 10 minutes. And to me, what was interesting is that as I started and I listened to you, and then you were gone, and I was sort of like, wait a minute, it's all silent here. Like there's nothing. And it was, in the beginning, was a little uncomfortable. Like there was no instruction. There was no silent music in the background. It was just silence. And I jokingly said to you before this that I didn't realize my house, even at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, was as loud as it was, just on different noises, the radiator or the house settling, all of these, or my stomach, rumbling, that I had never really paid attention to before. But as I came out of this and was really trying to focus on letting those thoughts continue to drift by, right? I kept getting caught up in thinking about the process and questions really that I was going to ask you when we had this interview, and trying to let those go. But as I mentioned to you, after finishing, as it relates to the model that I've been doing a lot of work on lately for another client, I came up with a whole different approach to what I was going to do. And I really looked to that space that I gave myself to, it just provided a great sense of energy from it after I was done.
So that brings me to the inner conversation, right? I mean, so there are two kinds of inner conversation. One is you just mentioned, something came up from there, and it happens like my whole intermittent silence came like that. I mean, from my meditation, the whole process, and then I tried to formulate it and structure it. So that is one type of inner conversation. The other kind of inner conversation is that you want to brainstorm on something, you take that particular thought, and you have a space. You have created a place where, after you have listened to the sound and everything else, you can create your, say, okay, now I'm going to experiment this or experience this. and then do a brainstorming. So one is that thoughts come directly that you never anticipated, never thought. But the other is also you can use it as a brainstorming session or honing in some skills. One of your 12 questions you can work on.
Right.
So I think it can be a powerful tool.
Yeah, again, I found it very powerful this morning. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow morning. I found it, or who knows, maybe I'll do it at some point later on in the day too. But is there a reason why you mentioned try and be consistent in terms of when it's done and where it's done?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is, of course, they said the best time is either the dawn or, sunrise or sunset, because the universe energy changes at that time. But the whole point of doing same time and same place and same technique, somehow your body, you will find after a week or so that as if it is looking for that. It's waiting for that. It's strange, but it does happen. It's just, like when you get up in the morning, you feel like breakfast. It's like,
yeah, you're feeding your
So your body, your whole space, everything, it seems like everything becomes aligned that way. So I find it very helpful to do at the same time, same place, same routine.
Just a few things. I know we're sort of coming in on the end of our time here.
Yeah.
One of the things I saw on your website that I found very interesting is you talked about mind as friend. And my own experience in the work that I do, and certainly from what I see outside, is that many times people's minds aren't their friends. And how important it is to have your mind as your friend. What does that mean, and how does it impact in terms of?
Well, I started saying that because people started calling mind names, right? Monkey mind or something. And I said, come on, this is going to be with you. Whether you like it or not, mind is going to be with you for, your life. It's just, you can't get rid of it. So why not have a friendly relationship? And then you can say, okay, so mind has, I said, two components, minding and mindfulness. The minding part, sometimes you can say, come on, stay out there. I'll come back to you, that's good. I think you also mentioned about body, energy body and food body. And so we have food body, which is, we eat, we healthy, and, food translates into body and fitness. But there is also another layer of the body, which is energy body. And we sometimes feel it, you feel goosebumps, or, sometimes you feel that way. But the Chinese call it qi and Japanese call it ki. And there is a lot of meditation in Relax App where chakra meditations. Chakras are, centers of energy in the body, and they're all connected. So the whole point is, it's like when you do exercise, you are healthy, you feel different. The same way, once you start creating and conserving energy, you feel like you are living at a higher energy level. And the higher the energy level, more peaceful you are. And some people are born with higher energy. People who teach other people leadership and other things, you are born with a high energy level. So, but there are people who are not. And they should work on that, because the less the energy, if you live at a lower energy level, more irritable you are, more sensitive you are, So I think it's important to work on the energy level consciously. Leadership, entrepreneurship, medicine, whatever. I think it's just generally a good idea.
And I would love people to have an opportunity to go on and try your app, because you mentioned chakra, that there's a number of different examples on there or options for people to meditate in different ways, not just in regards to intermittent silence, but there are other things on there that I think are very valuable. And just so we're correct on this, you just go to the App Store, it's Relax with 2 X's, right? So RELAXX. And then your website is the same, .org, correct?
Correct. relaxwith2x.org. And there is download links on that there.
Yeah, so as I said, I downloaded the app last night, tried it this morning, and it will become a regular part of what I do. I really enjoyed it. And I hope other people will take the opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great to know you, and we can talk about how we connected sometime. But
you as well. And I know we have more work that's going to be done together in terms of a couple of clients that I have mentioned to you about having you come in and actually did this talk again. So I appreciate this, and I think the universe has sent us to each other for this type of work. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And,
wishing you all the best.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Learning from Leaders podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time, keep rising above your best as a leader.